Hello, everyone. So, we are back to Mr. Andrew Wilson. Why am I talking about Andrew Wilson again? The last week has been challenging and it has been very heavy. So, I wanted to break the mood with something light and positive because I have traveled to the opposite end of the world, not the opposite end, but far, far away. And I have been involved in and seen some heavy stuff. So I thought that if I react to a video where I get a lot of hate, that might distract me from the doom that I sometimes get working in the environment that I am working in. So there you go. And also another thing, another story I want to tell you. This was around 2 days ago, 2 or 3 days ago. I met a very kind gentleman. I was trying to make an order in a cafe where I was trying to explain the owner that I'm vegan, and it was a challenge, right? Because the owner was they were only speaking French or Wolof, and I couldn't just explain that hey, it's not just that I don't want meat or fish, also no milk, please. And this man ended up helping me, and old gentleman, and very kind, very polite, and we ended up having this long ass conversation. And he told me that he lived in France for a lot of years, then Nigeria, and completely like he was very much like me, where in the sense politically, obviously his ideology and his understanding was a bit European, was a bit Western, although he was a man originally from Africa. And he was like very left, very anti-fascism, very liberal, pro-immigration, pro-children rights, pro the rights of everyone. But then we hit a point in the conversation, and suddenly I something an old trauma came back. So I told this man that the children here beg on the street, even though it is entirely illegal. But it's a very similar situation like you have red light districts in various cities where sex work is done pretty openly, although it's illegal, and nobody does anything about it. And the man responded with, yeah, but children begging is different than a guy going and having a good time. Like, those are not comparable. And the fact that not only is sex work inherently deeply degrading and objectifying to women mostly, but it doesn't only involve women. Even though a woman is in it by choice, she has, it doesn't erase the fact that it is deeply degrading and objectifying. And it also doesn't, just the fact that some women have learned to benefit from their own objectification as a part of their, as a way of their survival, that doesn't erase the fact that objectification is dehumanizing and that the person doing it is a shitty human being. Not only that, but he just completely ignored the fact that a lot of women doing sex work are there not out of their choice. A lot of them are there because they were forced to. A lot of them are there because they were wronged by people who were supposed to take care of them, their families or their husbands or men that they depended on. And sometimes these men abandon them, or sometimes they abandon them with children. So that is the easiest avenue that they have to make money. Sometimes they are kidnapped and trafficked. Human trafficking is a big industry, and that is the majority of the women. Because most women, if they were given a choice, and Andrew in this video says sex work is easy, I don't think, and no offense to anyone, I don't think some of you all realize how deeply degrading it is to be touched by a lot of you. Because if it wasn't so degrading, you wouldn't have to have this industry, and you wouldn't have to force women through various avenues to be a part of this industry, because then they would be willing to have sex with you as a choice. You wouldn't have to create a financial incentive if there was nothing unpleasant. And this man, it kind of shook me because he was so empathetic towards the children and towards his view on the world. But then I saw a pattern which I have seen in a lot of liberal, left leaning men, men who work in NGOs, men who fight for the rights of dogs and cats and squirrels and every single being. They want to fight for the rights of every single being. And obviously, 100% are not like that. But suddenly, you start talking about the rights of a woman and you see a stark change in their body language. You almost get the feeling that they believe somewhere that rights are a finite source, and if they share too much of it with a woman, then they will lose some of theirs. I don't know what it is, but it's very stark sometimes when you see a man who claims to be empathetic and woke in every other way, his body language completely switch when empathy is demanded for the experience of women. And a large part of the title of this video is corrects this 304. A large part of not degrading women who are involved in sex work as a collective, while acknowledging that that's not good for society, is about approaching them with empathy and understanding that they are not a different species than you and I, that something has happened in their lives that has brought them there. And and men enable this industry. So, and you have no term that is degrading for such men who have become so unlikable in their own lives that they have to go to these women who are forced to be in these situations and pay them money for them to allow these men to touch them. There is no degrading term for a man like that. But you will find a bunch of degrading terms for women. But, anyways, let's just start with this video. And I have said a lot of what I wanted to say. But if I have something else, I will say that.
Destruction. You wanted to talk on the historical culture for women and today's destruction of women by women at a man's expense.
So, like today's modern feminism and just the way that women seem to like hate on men now in today's culture just seems to be so different.
Okay, hate on men is not the correct terminology. If there is a stench in your house and you say that there is stench coming from somewhere, it's not negativity or hatred, it is positivity. And having that stench constantly come at you and never mentioning it is not positivity and it's not love. So, disagree. Feminism is not hatred of men.
Like it seems, I don't know how to word it. Feminism now it seems like it's changed so much to where it's gotten so extreme that it's almost embarrassing to be a woman.
Okay, you want me to say what I think the change is? 70, 80 years ago, or maybe 50 years ago, or 30 years ago, when actresses or working women mostly were asked, how are you going to manage your house? They felt the need to prove that they can do both together because it was assumed that the house and the children are the sole responsibility of a woman. So the women were more apologetic because they were like, at least let us get the foot in the door, at least let me just prove myself. There was this air of you going to a room and you trying to prove, like, listen, I'm not less than you. So they were more apologetic. But as the natural evolution of things happens, now you understand that yes, you are not less, you can do the work, and you understand that you were being apologetic for no reason. You understand that having a house is a job of a man and a woman both. So you as a woman don't have to justify your life choices as long as they are not hurting anyone to society. which a lot of women previously used to do. That is how feminism has changed, because women don't apologize for asking to be treated with dignity and respect like an average man is. And that apology should never have existed. But it takes time, because that apology was passed on to us through our nervous systems collectively. So it takes time. It's not because feminism has become more destructive, it's because women now don't ask to be treated fairly with apology, which they never should have in the first place.
Like, feminism has become hating men and not necessarily like about equality and about having those things. It's more about being demeaning against the opposite sex, or in from what I've seen about modern day feminists, it just seems to be about men hating. And for me, or that they don't have any worth or value, when to me they have some of the most worth and most value.
So modern day feminism tells men that they have no worth or no value. I will ask you a question. If I inherently believe that you as a human being have no value, I will not expect anything from you. And because I don't expect anything from you, I don't hold you to any standards because you are irrelevant to my life. I am not going to call you out because you are irrelevant to my life. If I say I am disappointed that a certain man talks like this, it is because I think that you have value and I hold you to the same standards that I hold myself to. That is not me telling you that you have no value. And as far as I understand, feminism and most modern women, they are very welcoming of men talking about their experiences. I had heard at some point from a male friend, and this is a personal experience. If he ever were to be SA'd, if he ever were to be assaulted by a guy, he would never tell it to the other male friends that he has. But he would be a lot more comfortable sharing that with me and any other female friend, some other female friends, not all. How are you coming and telling me that I go and tell, or feminists in general, that we go and tell men that they have no value? Is this the way you treat a person who has no value? And the way that sometimes men treat you, where you are not able to be vulnerable in front of them, if it makes you less manly, that is what your perception of value is. But then we don't have the same perception of value, because the way I see, we expect more because we do recognize you, that you're conscious human beings. You are not slaves to your desires, you're not slaves to your impulses, just like we are not slaves to our impulses. We can decide, and so can you.
Um, yeah, I guess that's just my position on that.
All right. I feel I suppose me and Andrew or the show can be a bit harsh regarding the worth a woman puts out, but I feel they neglect to reflect on the history of women and a man's need to pay to see us naked or more. Playboy Penthouse, which my mother was on the cover of, BTW. Women have been paid, thought of, and treated as chattel since the frontier days. Or how about the red light districts, et cetera, et cetera? While I'm against and disgusted at this OnlyFans era, men are equally to blame for the destruction of a woman's image. Well, two things there, and I think Andrew might have some thoughts on this. So men are equally to blame for the destruction of a woman's image, but before that there was women have been paid, thought of, and treated as chattel. Am I saying that word right?
Yeah.
Since the frontier days. Andrew, do you have any thoughts there on the frontier day chattel thing?
Yeah, I mean, they're prostitutes.
Yeah,
and
poorhouse.
Okay, so the sex workers, he means a lot of women who have been pushed in that situation, or some who have been, their way of survival in a system where they will be objectified is that you might as well earn. But this is exactly what I'm talking about. When men speak of sex work, and especially when they speak of it in such a derogatory way, and I mean no offense to anyone, you all don't understand how painful and degrading it is for a lot of women to be touched by a lot of you. It is degrading because you are creepy, and it There is no positive emotion that is generated in you when you are being touched by a very, very, very creepy man who is looking at you like an absolute object. So you are essentially doing something that is extremely viscerally unpleasant. This, being a prostitute, being touched by a lot of really horny, really desperate, very creepy men day in and day out, is a very, very deeply, viscerally unpleasant experience, which a lot of women may not agree to unless they are truly, truly in situations of complete survival, or they are being trafficked, or sometimes some women, yes, a very small minority, they put themselves in that position willingly. But again, just because some people benefit, have learned to benefit from their own objectification, that doesn't erase the fact that objectification is degrading. So I have huge problems with the face that he made, because you don't know what that woman is in it for. Maybe she is feeding her children because she has no other way to feed them, and you have no right to talk about them in that way. That's number one. And number two, you should also hold the men accountable because they are enablers of this system.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, if you're going to prostitute yourself, you're going to get Johns. I'm
Yeah.
not sure that that's. See, that's the thing, though. Is
It's an
I'm not sure that that's objective.
So, because his fans, Andrew Wilson's fans, hate lazy thinking so much. But this is a classic example of lazy thinking. Things just don't happen, you know. They exist, demand exists. Wherever there is a demand, there is supply. Supply creates more demand. Then demand creates more supply. So there was a demand, and as long as there is objectification, I argue supply will be created. As long as men are willing to engage in sexual relationships with women at the expense of those women's well being, the women that, by the way, they absolutely objectify, this is going to exist. So,
Objectification, or that's treating a woman like chattel if they want to be a prostitute because it's easy money.
I already debunked that being a prostitute is not easy. And if you ask most women who are trapped in this profession, if they would like to sit in an air conditioned office from 8 to 5, or they would want to be touched in the most violating way by 9 men in a single day, 9 creepy men who smell bad, who are probably criminals, who are going to treat them bad. That's the easy choice, is not the latter. The easier choice is the first one. Not everybody has the benefit to enter the system where they can sit in an office in front of a computer and earn a living in a way that they don't have to feel indignified. And men know what it feels like to be touched inappropriately, because I have seen men squirm as soon as they enter gay bars, like the bars which are dominated by gay men, and suddenly they get like, don't touch me, don't touch me. So you know what it means like. You know what it feels. Even this touch, when you feel it's creepy, how bad it is. You know, it's not that you don't have the emotion, it's that you lack the willingness to extend empathy. That is the problem. You will not extend empathy to a woman's experience. And I would also like to point out, there are women who are having forced sex with their husbands. There is a book I am reading, it's a Hindi book, and it's called I will find the name. It's by Ravi Shankar Parsai, yesteryear's Hindi writer, a satirist. And he writes in one of his jokes that something to the effect of, a sexually promiscuous whore is always considered more impure than a devoted wife, even if the total male contact of this sexually promiscuous whore ends up being much less than the devoted wife. Even if the sexual contact of this devoted wife is more violating, it's more devoid of emotion, it's more exploitative, the wife is still held in a higher regard, and they are not three or fours, because hey, you have placed your sexuality in the control of one man. So now another man is not going to insult you.
It's more or less they pay for it, or I mean, I assume, have you ever looked at porn? You ever looked at Playboy?
Of course,
That.
sure.
But then if you look down on a woman for it, then isn't that kind of a double standard?
Well, I mean, I guess, but not really. So if I tell my kid, because I'm a smoker, not to smoke,
So he is absolving men of all responsibility because men are like that. आदमी तो ऐसे होते हैं. So, and you think because he has no expectation from you, he thinks that you have worth. But if I have an expectation, or if a feminist or a woman has an expectation and says, no, you should not be like that, you have no worth. We are basically telling you that you have no worth.
is that double standard?
No.
How is that relevant? How is that relevant? We are talking about men who are actively participating in the exploitation of women and thereby enabling it. And we are talking about you smoking, which is not exploitative, it's wrong for your body. And then you ask your child to not do it. These are not comparable examples. It doesn't make any sense.
No, because you're
If you're smoking, you are contributing to the nicotine industry. You're contributing to the tobacco industry. And similarly, if you're an enabler of exploitation, you are contributing to the sex work industry, and you don't get to turn around and have this holier than thou attitude. And in many ways, you are at a much larger fault than the women, because a lot of women there are not by choice.
your health is a little bit different, can't tell that. But if you're
So,
paying,
so, so,
if you're paying
so,
to
so
like
another,
say
hang
on
on. So in other
account,
words,
but
you
then
can
you're
do,
demeaning her
you
for
can
it.
do a bad thing, right? And still know it's wrong for another person to do a bad thing you're doing, right?
No, I'm just talking about men.
Yeah, but those two things again are not comparable. They are not comparable. There is no comparison because those are not the same things.
Demeaning a woman for doing something that he is enabling as well.
Yeah, oh, yeah, sure. Well, I mean, absent of John, there could be no prostitutes, and absent of
Correct.
prostitutes, there could be no Johns, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I understand that. I guess what I'm saying, though, is absent this material being available to begin with, absent even being available for you.
No, it's not going to happen. Demand is going to create supply. You stop objectifying women. You stop getting turned on by helplessness. You stop getting turned on by cluelessness. You stop getting turned on by lack of respect. And these industries will cease to exist.
View, nobody's going to have slip ups, right? It's not there to slip up on.
It's not a slip up. If you're waking up and you're going to decide, it's not one isolated thing. You understand, you mostly need to have a lifetime of looking at women through eyes of consumption for it to culminate in that one act. It is not an isolated act, and I'm not like saying all corn is nobody should watch. Okay, generally it's bad, and not everybody who watches becomes a criminal. But if you routinely engage with an industry that relies on the exploitation of women, you are an enabler. It's a fact. You're a part of that industry. You're an active part. You're not a passive consumer.
Correct.
That's kind
Correct.
of the point that I'm moving towards, right?
But
And
then
the enabling the enabling of female promiscuity and then later pornography came out of feminism and the sexual revolution.
No, feminism didn't enable female promiscuity. And sexual revolution is a very open to interpretation term because people people interpret religion differently. The same person from the same religion takes an inspiration to do charity and to donate warm clothes to children, and then another person from the same religion is going to say that my god wants me to kill all of you. People interpret things differently. Sexual revolution is about women not feeling ashamed of their bodies, and women not just being passive consumable objects in the act of sex, but active participants in the act of sex. Now, how that sexual revolution is used in society, feminists were not going in these boardrooms telling people that if you want to sell a perfume, you need to place a naked woman on your billboard. If you want to sell a movie, you need to place a naked woman with a certain body proportion. Who made these decisions, and how presumptuous of you and how incorrect You think feminists went there and said, "Hey, we want to see a naked woman"? Men wanted to see a naked woman. That's why the naked woman was on the board. And We are not like, sexual promiscuity is a very personal choice, and it has consequences, and almost everyone today will tell you it has consequences. But the way a man doesn't become impure, a woman shouldn't be called impure. That was a sexual revolution. It's not, according to me, about sex without consequences. And like it has been already said, for not corn necessarily, sex work existed since ages, before feminism was even a thing. So feminists are not going around saying, "Can you please make more corn for our consumption?"
Solution. This was not a thing that men were pushing. They might
Oh,
consume.
men were not. So men don't want it. I have to say this sentence, according to me, is absolutely incorrect. Men were mostly in the decision making chairs. And if you say that, "I don't want to see a naked woman on a billboard," and most women don't want to see a naked woman on the billboard. So if it wasn't men, it was probably aliens, because it wasn't us.
It, and they do.
And having said that, I have said some women who thought that they could get an in into the system, they could have a career if they participated in that system. They chose to have those careers. But that is, you are not an island, you're a part of a society. And you choose the path of least resistance. But that doesn't make that entire idea right. Even if some victims chose to play with the system to benefit from it, the system was still flawed.
Consume it, but they definitely weren't pushing the sexual revolution at all.
So, and I'm more or less like
Oh, no, no, obviously. Men were like, "Oh my God, please let me be pure." And women were forcing these men to have sex with
looking
them.
down on like women who like do porn. Not that like I like that I would do it or that I agree with it, but then simultaneously watch it. So
Well, I
it's
think.
kind of a
Well, I think there's a
hypocrisy.
distinction between doing behavior currently and have ever done the behavior. So
True.
when the internet came out, all there was kids in my age bracket was everywhere.
Yeah.
You couldn't even avoid looking at it if you wanted to. It's not saying I've never viewed porn with intent, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. I think you have a stronger case if somebody's currently, like a porn fanatic, while at the same time being angry at the women who are producing the porn, right, or who
Yeah,
they're
that
looking at.
is
Yeah, I think maybe
exactly
you have a
what
point.
she is saying. You are enabling a system, and you don't get to call these women degrading names. What are you? What are you? How degrading is it to be a man that no woman will touch if you don't give her money? Why don't I ever hear a degrading word for such a man? Why do you have to coerce women to have sex with you? Why do you have to put pressure on them? Why isn't it so appealing to them that it's something that they want to do naturally? And I'm not attacking all men. I'm not saying it's all men, but it's a very good majority of them that engage in very, very coercive sexual behaviors even within their relationships. And you have to question yourself rather than constantly point a finger, "This woman is a 3 or 4 or whatever." It's not right. And okay, another personal anecdote. I have had, let's say, 10 female friends in my life. This is a symbolic number. At least 5 or 6 of them have told me that at some point they realized that the sexual physical relationship that they engaged with in their previous relationship was actually an SA, because they had said no, which was completely disregarded. So it's very, you associate so much shame with the sexual behavior of women, but a lot of your own sexual habits and kinks, with the release of the Epstein file, everyone can see, are so repulsive. And I'm not just talking about rape or murder. Those things are easier to say, okay, it's wrong. Men on the left and men on the right. And although Mr. Andrew Wilson has said that it's not always wrong, but most sensible people will say it's always wrong. But I'm talking about the ways in which your sexual behavior is coercive and degrading, and that you never realize, and that's never called out. But women are judged very heavily for their sexual behavior. And it's not women's sexual behavior by and large that's causing this terrible amount of violence in the world. Not to say that women don't SA men or other women, that happens too. But by and large, women's sexual behavior is not the cause of a lot of misery in the world. So, this is not me saying that something's wrong with you, but I see an astonishing lack of empathy from men who think that they are extremely woke and who care about issues, especially when it comes to the issues of women. And I don't support that. And that's why sometimes I speak about the issues of women so prominently, because I feel like if I don't, I'm not depending on you to do it. So if I am passionate about something, I have to speak about it. And again, if your house is stinking, saying that your house is stinking is not negativity. If you want to be positive, if you want no negativity, next time your male friend makes a very sexist joke, stop him, call him out, ask him why he feels the need to degrade women in every second sentence, even though he there's so much value is added to his life from women. Then why is he talking degradingly? Call him out. Next time you see a man misbehaved with a woman, call him out and make that woman comfortable. If you feel attacked by modern feminism, then, in my opinion, you are feeling attacked at a mirror showing your reflection, because you want the mirror to service your vision of the world where women are naturally happy and they will give you unmitigated amounts of empathy, but they don't get to demand any empathy from you. And you embellish and valorize childbirth, and you embellish and valorize complete self sacrifice and sacrifice of identity, and you call it innocence, and you never even try to see the frustration behind that innocence that all your mothers carry and they have carried throughout their lives. And when a woman expresses her frustration, you call her crazy, you call her bitter, you call her angry, you send her to a mental institution. So, if you are so disturbed by what the mirror is showing, then your problem is your own reflection. Your problem is not the mirror.